This video will show you how to replace the rear brake flex hose on a Ford Edge. This will be located behind your rear wheel. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. The first thing we have to do is safely raise and support the rear of the vehicle. After you've completed that, we're going to continue on to removing our center cover and all 5 of our 19mm lug nuts. As far as that center cover, small pry bar should do. Now with the wheel out of place, we have a clear view of our rear brake caliper and our rear brake flex hose. Prior to starting to remove the flex hose, I like to make my way to the bleeder screw on the caliper itself. We need to confirm that it does open first of all, so of course I have hand and eye protection and I have a collection receptacle under this area. As far as the bleeder screw, I'm using a 10mm. I'm going to carefully open this by turning it counterclockwise. Now that I have it in the open position, the next thing I need to do is make my way into the passenger compartment. I'm going to carefully press the brake pedal all the way down to the floor and hold it there with something such as a pry bar up against the seat. After completing that, we still have the pressure on the pedal, but I'm closing my bleeder screw. Now we can start removing our banjo bolt. This is what holds our flex hose to the caliper. For this, I'm using a 12mm. A quick inspection of our banjo bolts, we will be reusing this. Let's take hold of the flex hose, we're giving it a wiggle and sliding it away from its mounting point on the caliper itself. Once you have that removed, we're going to continue on following the flex hose up to its next mounting point. In this area, we have a 10mm mounting bolt. We'll remove that. Now we can follow the flex hose up to its next mounting point. This is an area that has a bracket attached to the body of the vehicle. We're going to carefully start loosening our brake line fitting. When doing so, be extremely careful not to twist your brake line. I've applied some penetrant in this area. For my brake line fitting, I'm using a 13mm flare end wrench to break it free. Now that I have that dislodged, we are going to clean and inspect this, but for now, we're just going to rest it aside. Let's continue on the removal process of the flex hose itself. We're removing it from the bracket next. Now, as far as the removal of the flex hose from the bracket, you're going to find that you have a metal clip that needs to be dislodged. Typically, you can do it by hand, but I prefer to use pliers for this. We'll just take hold of that metal clip, slide it out of place, a quick inspection, and we can set that aside. Let's go ahead and remove that flex hose. Pull that up and out of place. There it is, friend. Prior to installation of any part, of course, we want to make sure we clean and inspect the mounting area. So I'm starting up along the top. The first thing I want to do is carefully pull away on my brake line. I'm going to cover the port of the brake line so no miscellaneous debris falls in this area. We'll use a wire brush. Go ahead and clean up the brake line fitting. Give it a close inspection. Make sure it's not rotted, weak, or damaged in any way. After cleaning that, still holding over the top of that brake line, I'm going to clean and inspect my bracket. As far as this is concerned, we want to make sure it's not rotted or weak. This is all looking pretty good. Let's make our way down to the bracket, down a little lower here. Wire brush. And now we have to look along the back side of the caliper where the flex hose will be mounted. When looking down at the caliper, we're focusing on where the flex hose would connect into. The area that the banjo bolt goes onto may still have a pre-existing gasket. We need to double check because we never double gasket this area. Okay. There's our small sealing ring. We'll just give this a quick wipe with a clean rag, no detergents. We don't want anything making its way in the braking system. Now it's time to install the brand new rear brake flex hose. We're going to start with the top area. Before we start installing this, I just want to show you one area on the end that we're going to attach to the bracket attached to the vehicle itself. You're going to find that it's circular in exception of one portion that has a flat area. That flat area will need to go up against the tab on the mounting bracket. Now, as I start bringing this into position, I need to make sure I start in my brake line fitting. We'll align that tab with the flat area on the flex hose. We'll bring this up into position. Go ahead and start in that fitting now. I can tell that it is not cross-threaded in the wrong positioning. Let's continue on with our metal clip in this area prior to fully tightening this fitting. Now, as far as this metal clip, we need to make sure we have it in the proper orientation. I have it so my tab is facing towards where the flex hose is. I'm pressing this down towards the bracket and sliding the clip into the proper positioning. Let's continue on with tightening that brake line fitting. Right there's bottomed out. After snugging it with a wrench, I'm going to use my flare end wrench. We just want to make sure that it is secured here. Just a tiny bit further. After confirming everything's good here, let's go ahead and make our way down to the next mounting point. We'll carefully start bringing the flex hose down towards this bracket. When doing so, we need to make sure we have not twisted it in any way that may restrict brake fluid flow. We have our 10mm headed mounting bolt in this area. Go ahead and start that in and snug it up. This is looking good. Let's make our way to the caliper. Now, down in this area, the first thing we have to do prior to installing it is double check our banjo bolt. This is the bolt that holds the flex hose to the caliper, and if it has a pre-existing gasket on it, it must be removed. Now, in your kit, you're going to find it came with two brand new crush gaskets. We're taking the first one and sliding it directly onto that banjo bolt. We can see it on the flange. Continuing on, we'll take that bolt. We're sliding it through the flex hose. And now I'm taking my second brand new gasket, putting it on the other side of the flex hose. Now we have one on each side. Let's go ahead and get this flex hose in position. We have one alignment tab. That needs to line up with the groove on the caliper itself as we start bringing this into position. Go ahead and start that in, snug it up. The torque for this will be 18 foot-pounds. When tightening this, we need to confirm that we have properly squeezed each one of those two gaskets. Just enough that's going to prevent fluid leak from this area. Go ahead and take hold of that hose, give it a wiggle, it should not move around in any way. Now let's complete a gravity bleed. For this, make your way into the passenger compartment. Remove pressure from your brake pedal. After that, you're back out here at the bleeder screw. As far as this point, we're going to make sure that we have our collection receptacle under this area. I'm using my 10mm to open the bleeder screw. We want to see a steady trickle of fluid making its way out of this area. Now I can see that I have a steady trickle of fluid making its way out of this bleeder screw. I'm waiting to confirm that I do not see any air bubbles forming in this area. Once you've confirmed that you have no air making its way out of this portion of the brakes, we can go ahead and close that bleeder screw and we'll clean up our mess. Now, the next thing we want to do before installing the wheel would be to make your way into the passenger compartment. Pump up the brake pedal. Confirm that it feels firm. If for some reason it feels soft or spongy, you may have air in the system. If that's the case, continue on with the manual brake bleed. Otherwise, you should be all set to go ahead and double check for leaks and then reinstall your wheel. Now, one last quick inspection in this area and we can reinstall our wheel. Once you have the wheel in place, start on all 5 of your 19mm lug nuts. You're going to bottom them out. We'll get the wheel back down on the ground and then torque each of them to 100 foot-pounds. The wheel's back on the ground. Let's go ahead and torque these lug nuts in a crisscross manner to that 100 foot-pounds. If you have a center cover, install that now. When installing that, we want to make sure our ports are aligned with the lug nuts. We'll tap it into position. Through this process, we will have to make our way behind the wheels to each one of our bleeder screws. You want to make sure that they do open, otherwise you need to service that. Once you've confirmed that your bleeder screws open, we're under the hood. Under the hood at the master cylinder, we're going to open up our master cylinder reservoir cap. Inside of this area is where the brake fluid's located. Let's remove as much of it as possible. For this, I'm going to use a fluid extractor. We'll recycle that fluid as necessary. Let's go ahead and top off that master cylinder reservoir with clean .3 brake fluid. You can use a funnel if necessary to gain access in this area. We're going right up to the maximum line. Now we can reinstall our brake master cap. Now we can continue on with the brake bleeding procedure. We're going to start at the passenger side rear. Now I have a second person inside of the vehicle. We're going to start bleeding the brakes. I'm on the passenger side rear. As far as this is concerned, of course we do have a collection receptacle underneath where our bleeder screw is. If you happen to have a rubber protective cover, just go ahead and remove that now. We're going to set that aside. Typically you would want to reuse it. At this point, I'm going to carefully open up my bleeder screw here. What I want to do is make sure that it breaks free. So once I have this open, there we go. It does break free. I can see fluid. I'm just going to lightly close this. Now I'm going to ask the person inside of the vehicle to pump up the brake pedal approximately 3 to 5 times and hold it. While they're holding, they're going to let me know. I'm going to reopen this. The pressure from their foot on the brake pedal, making its way through the lines, is going to start pressing out any fluid and air from in this system. We need to remove as much air as possible, and of course we only want clean and brand new brake fluid only. Let's go ahead and pump up that brake pedal, please. Okay, go ahead and pump. Go ahead and pump. You can release, thank you. Now at this point, we repeated the process as many times as necessary. I saw that there's no air in the system and the fluid looked clean. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and clean up the mess here. I'll reinstall my protective cover. Make your way over to the other side of the vehicle, the driver's side rear. Repeat this exact same process. Once you've completed that side, there's no air and only clean brake fluid, stop at the master cylinder and top it off. Under the hood, let's go ahead and remove that cap. We're using our funnel, clean .3 brake fluid. Just go ahead and top that off. After topping off the master cylinder, we're at the passenger side front caliper. I'm going to remove my protective cover here. Just go ahead and pull that right out of place. Of course, I have my collection receptacle under here. Let's go ahead and start pumping the brakes. $8mm wrench. Go ahead and pump. Go ahead and pump. Okay, you can release, thank you. Now, as you saw, we had only clean brake fluid making its way out. We removed any air from the system on this side of the vehicle. We're going to clean this mess, reinstall the protective cover. You're going over to the driver's side front caliper next. Repeat that process. Remove any air, then you're back at that master cylinder one last time. Let's top off the master cylinder one last time, all the way up to our maximum line here. Got my funnel, clean .3. Make sure that cover is nice and tight, clean any mess in this area. Okay friend, we finished the job. Now at this point, we need to just double check for leaks, confirming there's no hydraulic fluid leaks. Aside from that, once your wheels are installed, you're making sure everything's torqued to 100 foot-pounds, close the hood, and take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.